Thank you for staying with us. Flow 94.9 FM, the flow of Godson State. I told you before we went on that very short break that when we make a return, we'll beam our touchlight on the All Progressives Congress APC here in Abia State as to assess what has been a topsy-turvy aftermath of the primaries which was held back in time earlier, sometime this year, and where they are currently in the scheme of things, especially politically. Do they still pose a challenge to the ruling party and other parties looking to restore power with them at the center? Are they looking, a shadow of themselves, giving all the imbroglio which they've been involved in? That will be on the front burner in the second half of the platform this morning. And joining me to look at this one is Mary Ikoku. She's an APC chieftain, a policy development and gender expert, senior communications advisor at the Access Media Group. She's a journalist, a politician, of course, and a public affairs analyst. Good morning to you, Ma. Good to have you on the platform this morning.
Thanks for having me. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Good to have you.
Awesome.
All right. So let's jump on the conversation right away. I'll start off this way. For a party seeking to upstage the ruling party in the state, does it surprise you that they have been all over the place since the aftermath of their primaries?
No, it doesn't surprise me, and it all depends on what you mean with being all over the place.
The back and forth, going to court, issues of who the Goba candidate is, the issue involving Chief Sam Onibo and that of Honorable Emeka Atoma. So all these things are all over the place, in perspective.
Okay, that one. These are... we call it this silly season of politics, right? So a lot of things go on, and Abia State will not be an exclusion. So what you have going on, neither is APC, my party, going to be excluded from all of those rumbles. But it is something that is very, very consistent when we're in political season. An election is underway. You know that when there is primaries election, parties will often give party members, these are the party guidelines. Go back to your state and conduct elections using these guidelines. So the case you have just reeled out is a function of the party saying, here is the party guideline. Go down to your state and run an election using these guidelines. Then we have a certain group of people, and this kind of people, they exist across political parties. They are PDP, they are in APC, they are in Africa, where politics, elections are duly conducted. They wake up one morning, those who participated in that election, person who won that election, his name disappears from the ballot. You see, so that's what I can see from the judgment.
Are you saying there are discrepancies in the party here in Abia State? Is that what you are alluding?
No, what I'm saying here is that our party, the All Progressives Congress, had put out a guideline as to how we must conduct our primaries. And for you to conduct a primaries, for you to even participate in that primaries, you would have purchased form to vie for a specific election, right? So we have a situation where people had paid for forms, run for a particular election, and winner emerged. But then within the party, there were other considerations, as you can see, and another name shows up in that on the ballot. So what you naturally would see is that the person who won at that primaries would naturally, it's a natural course of justice. The person would naturally approach the court to interpret what had happened to him or her. And that's just what has happened in the case of Onibo versus Atuma.
No,
it's nothing out of place.
I want us not to be punching the air. Let's go down to specifics. In terms of the Guba candidates now, we know the back and forth there, counter judgment, counter judgment, and that leaves especially the electorate here in Abia State in a conundrum of who the substantial candidate of the party, APC, is going into the polls, which of course is less than 80 days away from fruition. What do you make of that? And who do you really even think is the authentic candidate of the party here?
With every sense of responsibility, I would say that Honorable Sam, that judgment that gives the ticket to Sam Onibo is heartwarming. It's a landmark judgment. It's a judgment that gives you the sense that there is still hope in our justice system. Of course, we all knew, I monitored that election, and I know that he and Henrico was in that election. The other guy, I didn't even see him on that day. So it beggars to reason the judgment. And I believe that the people of Abia State are people of great conscience. And anyone in good conscience will naturally know where to tilt. And it does not remove, it may be a lot of distractions for our party. However, I must say that you now have two people contending for a position. It also gives kudos to the party in the sense that all the campaigns about vote our party, vote APC. So Sam Onibo's campaign is ongoing. Atuma, if he doesn't agree with the judgment, will continue to go to court. And at the end of the day, this Supreme Court will rest this matter, and it is the party that wins at the end of the day. And that's the bottom line. That's the sense that I want us to make of it. It may be distracting, yes, but to what extent? Eventually, the truth is that Abians are people of good conscience. They all have watched what has happened, and APC is trying to put to rest and say to people that we are a responsible party. And this is where we stand on the matter. It is the court now versus INEC. So, I mean, people generally, at the end of the day, the truth will be out, and our party is open and willing to go with whoever emerges a winner. Whoever the justice system says this is the candidate, I believe that will be the end of the discussion.
Trying to cut in your tracks now, you said it bodes well. I mean, that very issue of court case, it being between the court versus INEC now, for some people, they argue that if the party cannot really settle internal wranglings and issues of this nature, it is left to be seen how they could sort the problem of a state and other key positions they are vying for. I mean, the seat of the Senate, that of representative, are hallowed seats where you need a peace of mind to eke out projects and make lasting impacts in the life of those who may have sent you there.
Well, that's a great point you've made, and I totally love that conversation that you're taking. However, my contribution to that will be that in your family, I do believe that there are also wrangles. You have even siblings who never agree. They are grown, they are mature, they're still achieving successes along their way, even with that wrangling within the family. Wrangling, bickering, does not in any way detract from the successes of people. The successes in this election is going to be about the individuals. It's going to be about who is on the ballot. It's going to be about what you're offering to the citizenry. It's going to be about your blueprint, your manifesto, the messaging, what you are going to bring. And at the end of the day, what kind of people do the people want? People have to elect the leader that will work for them. They have to elect a senator, a representative, somebody who will represent them effectively. And these are the things that count. So whether there's back bickering, yes, it does have its upside.
Okay. Let me take you away from that very issue and talk about the Guba candidates now. I'm sure you've been following proceedings in the aftermath of that primaries, where it seems the APC have two candidates going into the election when we know that there can only be one name or one person on the ballot. Doesn't this worry you? Doesn't equally put in doubt the chances of the APC wrestling power with the party at the center and others looking to be gathering steam and momentum?
I would say it all boils down to the same kind of scenario. But like I said, it is the party, All Progressive Congress. If the court had sacked our candidate, he has also gone on an appeal. So we will wait for that appeal and see the outcome of that appeal. And I believe that the court, in earnest, is going to expedite some of these actions. It's not going to linger, like you said, because the new electoral law has made it very clear that all pre-election matters must be concluded within 180 days from filing. So the time is ticking. In a few weeks, all of these issues will be rounded up, and the real campaign will kick off by January. But anything you see right now surrounding this issue they are all political distractions. That's the court who has said my candidate is no longer that is sacking our governorship candidate, and Uchoga is now the candidate. Then Ike Cheminike has gone to appeal court, so we will all have to wait for that appeal court judgment and see where that leads us. After appeal, there's also Supreme Court, So, but I can assure you that all of these things will be expedited, and before you know it, the governor that Abia needs will be out there, and the people will vote for.
It is still the platform, the pinnacle of all discussion. I call it the second half here on Flow 94.9 FM, the Flow of Godson State. I've been speaking with Mary Ikoku, and I told you she's an APC chieftain, policy development and gender expert, and a public affairs analyst. And we've been looking at the situation around the All Progressives Congress. Now, Ma, let me drag you to something which will be, mouth-watering for you to talk about: the issue of women's participation in politics here in Abia State. Do you feel satisfied? Do you think that women are really enthroned in the political ecosystem, or you think they are out and out as long as that very thing is concerned?
Okay, so thanks again. I think that the issue of women inclusion is a front-burner issue. And there is really no state without women. You can't have any Abia without women of Abia. And the Abia, unfortunately, happens to be one of the states in Nigeria with no single woman in her House of Assembly. And that also makes me wonder. I was really almost died of shock when I saw that this state assembly had actually made a law on the daughter's inheritance, which of course, I didn't see that coming from a state like Abia, but I'm very happy that judgment, bill came through and was accepted by the governor. Kudos to them, but they need to do better. And I don't know how they feel comfortable sitting in a house filled with men. It is an aberration.
Do you feel it's the women now not? Do you feel it's the women now not stepping up, or you think the party haven't really put them out there to contest for positions? Which of these do you think the problem could be?
The problems are multifaceted, from culture to patriarchy to funding issues to the level of unpreparedness. But I can tell you for true that for this 2023 election, women stepped up bigly, if I will use that word. They stepped forward massively. So it would have seemed that political parties failed Nigerian women. And also I came out, I ran for House of Representatives. I was the best candidate for my party. My party at the national were very pleased that I could even step forward. Everybody in my constituency were waiting for my party to give me that ticket so they could vote me in. But hey, when a party decides to field otherwise, you also need to understand that there may be other calculations, right? But when these calculations become to tip greatly against the women's vote, it begins to show you clearly that culture of patriarchy is heavy in Abia State. When people tell you that the Northerners, they don't support women and all that, they actually have more women in the ballot than they not only have the only female governorship candidate, a strong one at that, is also from the North, and it's from my party. But the other parties, none fielded a woman. And then in the House of Representatives, I would have been the second woman in my state, alongside Nkiru Okonye-Iweala. But of course, that didn't happen according to how the party decided. However, it is not here to rule. As we go along, we see what happens. I'm currently very busy with the presidential campaign, council activities of my party, and for the rest of the parties, I think that PDP have also fielded a few good female candidates. Abia has fielded fantastic female candidates. So for me, I think that to round it up is that Abians need to understand the need to have women in their House of Assembly, to have women in leadership. Because when you don't put women there, it's you assume that you are walking, you have two legs, but you're walking with one. You have two eyes, and you are seeing with one eye. But when you have proper inclusion, women come to the job with a fresh pair of eyes. They are more effective and everything. So it is very important that we all look at the ballots across political parties. And I'm not speaking about APC alone. The Abians, open your eyes. Look at the ballot within ABGA, APC, PDP. Any women being on the ballot, Accord Party, all of the political parties. Look for the women on those ballots and vote for them.
Okay, you speak passionately about this, and I absolutely agree with you. A lot needs to be done in this aspect. As so often before, we need to get involved at this very moment. And of course, our listeners, the phone lines have really been buzzing. I would love you to stick around, and maybe if there are questions from our listeners, you would attend to them. So call us, you are dear listener, 0808182649 or 0811605249. Name, location, you go ahead with your point. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Thank you for joining the conversation. Name and location, you have 30 seconds.
My name is Richard. I'm calling you from Odram. I've been the local government of the state. Precisely, I'm calling you from Abia now. Yeah, the woman that representing APC has spoken well. But I listened to the news that we saw that the governor candidate of APC, that he has a forgery certificate. So they have taken him to court, and the court has made order, let them arrest him. So I don't know what is the meaning of that thing. So let them, you're supposed to ask her, what about that case? Let her tell us about those cases. Then, in terms of this PDP.
Thank you very much. I think you've made your point, so we can have others join too. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you join the conversation. Name and location.
Thank you, calling from Maya.
You're welcome, Mr.
Please, this thing I want to address, even within I've noticed it within this APC litigation. Some people will be arguing that court does not have the jurisdiction to react to election matters, and some people will also come on board with the Federal High Court judgment to unseat appeal court judgment. We will have that one happen in this country. Appeal court judgment is supersede any other court judgment, and the election matters, any judgment from magistrate court, state high court or federal high court, the next appeal that the court of appeal decision, which is appeal court, you don't go to another bit and not go to federal high court, thinking that journment will oversee to party. And when the investigation begins, it will publish a national gazette. All parties
thank you very much. The appellate court, sorry to let you go. Time is not our friend. One more call and we call it a wrap. Good morning.
Good morning, Wilson, my brother.
Go ahead.
Good morning, Honorable Mary.
Good morning.
All right, good morning, madam. I'm Mr. Swago, President from Homona Chobo in Imo State. I'm very clear this morning on the way I can see a woman, I can see a stallion like yourself. My sister in the house, thank you so much for giving us a very good breakdown. May God bless you. My question is this. In as much as you have spoken the truth about when we asked you a question, about who actually between Onibo and Atoma, who actually is the winner, you really made the truth clear by telling us that it is only Igbo, but actually the matter is in the court. That let us keep our fingers crossed. Thank you so much. My question is...
You're welcome.
He had a question to ask. I apologize for cutting you in your tracks, but at this very moment, time is actually beckoning on me to let go. So let's have your final words and call it a wrap on the program now.
Okay, the first question, the first caller asked a question about the courts about Uchoga's arrest. Before coming on your show, I had put a call through to my brother Oga, and I couldn't speak to him. But I can tell you for a fact, there is a court, appeal court judgment, and I've also spoken to my brother, the party lawyer. I like to always speak the truth at all times. So everything is not about politics. There is a court judgment. The only thing that can quash that judgment right now is appeal court. And High Chief Menike has graciously gone to the appeal court to make that happen. So we will all have to wait for that. Anything else, the magistrate court, judgments, all those things, I think they're some of the games of politics. They're political distractions. I don't know the root of it, so I can speak on that. Uchoga is safe where he is. He is not in danger in any way.
Okay.
And then the second caller talked about, I think the third caller talked about Onibo and Emeka Atuma, who is the actual winner. The truth is that Atuma was never in the race, never played any part. He ran for governorship of Abia State and did not win. Menike won him in that particular election. So and the electoral law is very clear on this issue.
Okay.
You do not participate.
I think at this moment we have to go. We have to go.
So the court judgment is a landmark judgment.
Let me sincerely appreciate you, Mary Ikoku, Mrs. of course, APC chieftain, policy development and gender expert, senior communications advisor at the Access Media Group, a journalist, a politician, a public affairs analyst. Thank you very much for being a part of the platform this morning.
Thanks for having me. Thoroughly enjoyed the show.
Oh yeah, I did too. All right, thank you everyone who called, who tried to make their points here and there. I apologize, I really cannot take your call on Facebook, your messages on Facebook, because time is really fast spent and I have to go. Thank you to my producer, Mr. Samson Eze, to Adeze, Stanko behind the visuals, and of course Mr. Moses. The cookie crumbles here. But then, my name is Wisdom Thomas. Do have a lovely Friday ahead and of course a lovely weekend. The new Abia is up next. Bye-bye for now.